Welcome back to our channel. This is A&A's Views and Opinions. I am Armani.
And I'm Audra.
And today's video is on old school discipline
versus new school discipline.
Question number 1. Why do you think things have changed when it comes to disciplining a child?
Things have changed because these kids today need old school ass whoopings.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed.
Because today, what was considered an ass whooping in our day would be child abuse today. Honey. And some of these kids need that old school ass whooping.
You can't yell at them without them feeling like they need to call the police.
Honey, you can't pull them by the ear without them going to school somewhere and talk about, my mom beat me up, knowing it's a lie. And then the school or wherever they go be mandated reporters and they call over dumb shit.
See, my response is some parents take it too damn far. You got disciplining a kid and then you got abusing a kid. So I think that a lot of kids being harmed the way that they've been has put things in a whole different perspective that way as far as disciplining your kid. You can't comfortably discipline your child these days because the way that everything is looked at as far as abuse.
Girl, who gives a shit? Because if I want to whack my kid upside the head, I'm going to whack him upside the head. I don't care if we outside, inside, or round side.
You sound like my mama.
I'm going to whack him. And I don't care what none of y'all do because you can't whoop me. Yeah, but at the end of the day, some of these kids need it. My kids are good because they had that steady discipline. I didn't abuse them, but they had steady discipline. You understand what I'm saying? And that's why I have good kids today. My kids are good. Now my boys, they went crazy a little bit. My two oldest ones, they went crazy a little bit, but that's okay. They'll get it together one day. You understand? So I put it out there that my kids, they'll eventually get themselves together.
It's even in the Bible.
Today's kids, what's in the Bible?
It's a passage, it's a scripture in the Bible. It says, spare the rod,
spoil the child. And that's why these kids are spoiled today. Because their parents spared the rod. Mm-hmm. I didn't. But now that my kids are older, now they want to come to they need to go down the street where Susie and Becky is getting molested, traded off, right. So their parents can do drugs, sex trafficking, all that. They need to go downstairs, go down the street to Becky and Bobby. To stay away from my house. Because when you come to my house, you see there's food, there's clothes, there's heat, there's air conditioning, and I got all the necessities. My house is clean. They go to school. Stay the hell away from my house. And they get cussed out when they come. They sure do. And think bringing the police with them is going to make a difference. I said, I'll cuss him out too. And there ain't nothing he can do about it as long as I don't put my hands on nobody.
There it is.
Mm-hmm. There it is then.
I was thinking that.
No, any whore.
You and that damn word. Question number 2. How far is too far when disciplining a child?
You want me to be honest?
When you're negating the necessary needs of a child. When you're negating taking care of a child as the way a parent should, and bruises and stuff like that, that's taking it too far.
I think what I always consider is when you talk down to your kids. When you tell them they're not going to be shit because you ain't shit, or my mama said I wasn't this, I wasn't that, so which means you're going to turn that around on your whole kids and like tell them. I knew someone like that who told her kids that they ain't going to be shit. And I asked her, why would you talk like that to them? She said, to motivate them. That's not motivating them. No. That is not motivating them at all. And today, still today, they live like they ain't shit. They live just like their mother. And that ain't cool. Because instead of building them, she didn't build them. She, belittled them. And make them not want to do anything with their life. You understand what I'm saying? Now, one of them is doing so. Well, two of them. I'm gonna say two of them is doing something with their life. They're pretty good off. They're pretty good. But the rest of them,
That's sad.
Matter of fact, let me say, there's 4 of them that's doing pretty good. But you got the one that's just you don't know. You don't know what happened.
That's sad. But yeah,
you gotta build your kids.
Bruising and not taking care of their
there's a
basic
line.
needs.
There's no drawing blood. People think when you say draw blood, they means having bleeding down their legs and all that. Now
No, going to
now
school
you know
with black eyes,
when you
busted lips, and
busting
burn
when you
marks and
pop them
stuff
in the
like that.
mouth and they draw a little blood because it hit the back of their teeth. That ain't nothing serious. Now when you punch them in the nose and try to kill them and they bleeding all over the place, that is excessive.
Breaking their jaw, punching them in the face,
breaking their bones and all that. That is excessive. Burning them with cigarettes.
That's child abuse.
That's child abuse.
That's way too far. Parents need to. They just need to walk away.
Right.
Just walk away.
Right.
Next question. How do you think today's kids would act if they got old school ass whoopings?
Honey. They would run straight to CPS.
I think they would show more respect.
True that.
These kids have no respect these days because of not being disciplined and not being trained properly. Like they feel like that they could just disrespect you no matter what your age and who you are.
Right.
The fact that you don't even know how to wipe your own tail yet properly.
Before you try to tell somebody else how to wipe their
run,
right.
How to run their life and how to be,
and
etc. I think it's reckless. It's ridiculous.
And you know why that is? It's because parents like us and how we grew up and the way we were beating stuff, there's a lot of them that say, I'm not going to do my kids like that.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
But
at the end of the day, you don't just, get rid of the discipline altogether.
They still need direction. Right.
You got kids out here hitting their moms, disrespecting their moms and all that. I wish my kids would. They do a little bit, but they know how far to go. So it really doesn't make it is a big deal. But to see a child disrespect their parents and their parents just sitting there like this, my kids would be getting up from the bottom of the steps.
Kids need to learn to make mistakes. You can't learn from not making a mistake. So
but being disrespectful to your parent is not a mistake.
Right, but a parent can tell you you shouldn't use curse words and you should respect your elders, etc. Use mannerisms. But a child will not understand how to properly do that if they don't mess up a few times. That's understandable. But like the examples that you were just saying, as far as cussing your parents out and putting their hands on their parents and walking around like they made Earth.
And half dressed while doing it.
No. I'm kind of old school. So my kids is Miss and Mr. Please, thank you. No, thank you. I'm
on the fence with the Miss and Mister.
I
don't make my kids call nobody Miss this and Miss that.
You ain't even hit puberty yet,
right?
And don't show respect to an adult or an authority figure.
I just never really got down. I wasn't ever comfortable with calling everybody Miss and Mister. I was never comfortable with that myself. It always made me feel uncomfortable because you are not Miss to me. You are not Mister to me. You understand what I'm saying?
Everybody is addressed.
It all depends on who it is.
It's perspective.
It all depends on who it is. Not everybody's this.
Way.
No,
especially
I don't do it
if
like
they're
that.
in a particular profession and they say this is Mr. So-and-so or this is Miss So-and-so. You ain't even reached puberty yet. Who was you calling from their first name?
Right.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. You only if you're calling them by their first name, they have to tell you that.
If they're comfortable with that.
They have to tell you that.
Then that's different.
So every kid I came in contact with is Miss this, Miss that. And they just did it automatically. It's just, and I tell them, you don't have to. My name is Audra. Not everybody that, and not every kid does that. And I don't mind it. Just don't be disrespectful.
But you also have to respect a parent's parenting, because if I'll say, this is so-and-so and I'm introducing them to my kids and they'll say this is Mr. or this is Miss so-and-so and they'll say, oh no, they don't have to do that. Girl, that's fine. They could just call me. That's not for you. These are my kids and I'm choosing to raise them to show respect.
But way. If they said that it's okay, you can't tell them, okay, whatever, I'm just going to go against what you just said. They have to give them permission. If you start off like that, Okay, that's fine. That's respect. But if they say they don't have to do that, they can call me such and such. You should be. You
Well,
should
that lets me
respect
know
that.
they have the option that they don't have to.
Right.
But respect my parenting that this is how I choose to train my children.
You got to stop being so prudish.
Bye, girl. Next question. How do you think a lack of discipline in a child affects the way they respect people?
They run around here like chickens with their heads cut off.
I say it depends on how a child is raised.
True that.
Because you got kids that don't have no direction at all. So they're trial and error. They're continuing to make mistake after mistake, trying to figure out stuff on their own. Okay? Continue to get in trouble, and now the law got to teach you how to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Then you got kids that have a 2-parent home or even a 1-parent home, and they're taught how to be.
act. Right.
So the fact that from the beginning they're raised a particular way, do this and do this and do this, and they're disciplining. If they don't discipline, you don't have to discipline your kid. If you're consistent, a kid is going to be the way a parent
allows them to be.
Train them.
You have to make it sound like they're dogs.
No, is an example. A parent is an example of how a parent wants their child to become.
Mm-hmm.
So if the parent is calm and patient and consistent, etc., there are parents out there like that. Don't look at me like that. Anyway,
what you talking about yourself?
The child is going to in turn become that. They don't get in a drama. And
that is not true.
They're not hectic and all of that stuff. Like, again, trial and error.
Absolutely not true, because me myself,
peer
I'm
pressure.
I used to be a hollerer and a screamer. That's all I did. I hollered and screamed. And my children are not hollerers or screamers, and they're very good kids. You know, so it's not all about how the mother raises them or how the father raises them or the 2-parent home. And that's what makes me mad. They say a 2-parent home is better than a 1-parent home, and that is not true. That is not true at all, because 2-parent homes, they kids grow up to be serial killers and all this Ted Bundys and what's the other ones and all that. And then you got a 1-parent home with a mother or a father, and these kids grow up to be college graduates, you know, making money, entrepreneurs.
I would say 2-parent homes is basically extra support.
True.
But that doesn't mean that just because it's a 1-parent home that the child is not going to
be successful. Right.
That was good. That was good. I like that one. Next question. Do you feel using different objects is a good form of discipline?
It all depends on the object. It all depends on the object.
You're going to have people be like, you shouldn't be using objects at all.
That's the way I grew up. I object. You
that's how
freaking
I grew
right.
Up.
You freaking right. We grew
up
with belts, extension cords, wire hangers. You understand what I'm saying? Anything our parents, sneakers, anything our parents had in their hands.
Switches.
We was getting it.
Oh, switches.
We was getting it. The switch, and that tear your legs up, and then you got welts all over the place.
Man, listen.
That is crazy. But in my house, in my mom's house, in our house, my mom was the only person that was allowed to whoop us. You know what I mean? She was the only. My mom didn't play the whole neighborhood whooping your butt or your dad whooping your butt. My mom didn't play that. She was the only parent. And if the person said, I whooped your child because of such and such, and she felt as though that it was a liable reason, she didn't say anything. She didn't say anything. She'd be like, okay, you handled it, whatever. But if anybody else decide they want to put their hands on her kids, it was holy war.
My mom gave my 4th grade social studies teacher permission, and she to spank us with the paddle, with the ruler. No, she did have a paddle. I'm sorry. She gave her permission to spank me and my brother, and that's the only time somebody else had that much permission. But they were like lifelong friends, and so they had a relationship prior. But other than that, as far as a stranger, no. But yeah, like it depends on the object. But even
my mom didn't play them school paddles either.
You can still take it too far, even with the object. I used to say, I'm not spanking my kids because of the way that I was disciplined growing up. And then I had 2 kids.
Yep.
Do you remember I used to say, "Can you not cuss around my kids?" You remember
Yeah.
that?
And did I ever pay you
wasn't
any
cussing.
attention?
I wasn't cussing. I didn't want to raise them like that, and I was doing pretty well. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we feel like it depends on the discipline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry, it depends on the object. But even with the object, it can still be taken too far. So you have to be able to restrain yourself.
But
You're
I don't
not
think
hitting your
I don't
kid
think
out
a
of anger.
parent should whoop their child when they're severely angry.
Like I said, out of
Because
anger. Right?
that's when you take things too far.
Yeah, because you're thinking of everything else in your head that you're angry at, and that child ain't have nothing to do with it. Like you coming home and you had a terrible day at work, and you take it out on your kid just because you know you can.
Right.
That's wrong.
That's like a
discipline.
husband coming home from work and whooping his wife's tail.
That's not discipline. Like a lot of these
That's
kids they're just
doing it
bags.
because you're angry.
That's terrible.
Right.
Again, our views and opinions. We're not telling you to whoop your child with an object. We're saying our experiences here. Anyway, next question. Do you feel using cleaning as a form of discipline is a good form of discipline, and why?
No, because they're supposed to clean. That is not discipline. Well, if you don't do such and such, you're punished. You got to do this. If you don't feel like this, you got to... No, they're supposed to clean. Man, that is not a punishment.
I used to have to scrub, and I know somebody could relate to me on this one. I used to have to scrub the bathroom tiles with a toothbrush and some bleach and soap water.
Mm-hmm. My mom used to make me, if I didn't do the dishes right, she would take all the dishes out of the cabinets all over the house, and I'd have to wash all of them. All of them. Now that is a punishment.
So do you think using cleaning as a form of discipline is a good form of discipline?
No, I still don't. My mom would make me take all the dishes out of the cabinet, pots and pans, everything, and wash them over again. Even if they were clean, I had to wash them all over again. That was a form of punishment.
Damn. Well, to each their own, right?
Mm-hmm. To each parent their own.
There it is. Next question. How do you feel about using army drills for discipline?
I love it. I love it.
I think...
It also strengthens them.
I think that served a purpose because that's what they got the Beyond Scared Straight program for. Mm-hmm. I remember being in boot camp, and so I learned about physical training and how that was basically a punishment, and whipping me into shape using physical training. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great form of punishment.
But in the beginning, they don't like it because it's painful.
Oh yeah,
it's
if
painful.
You're not used to working out,
and so it works in the beginning because they don't want to do that type of punishment.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they get used to it.
And then they get used to it. So it's nothing to them after they get used to it.
That's why you gotta switch up. Mm-hmm. Next question. Do you feel social services should get in on parents disciplining their children?
No, they need to mind their damn business. They need to mind their damn business. Because you got back in the day, you had social workers. They were older people. They had children. They could offer up some advice. But still, at the end of the day, they need to mind their business because you're not raising these kids. You understand what I'm saying? And they love going to black parents' homes. So they can tell you, you can't do this and you can't do that. You can't tell me what the hell to do with my kids. Nowadays, they got social workers who don't have kids.
Yep.
Trying to come in your house and tell you how to raise your kids.
They're following guidelines from a textbook.
Mm-hmm. What they was
and
taught.
Other people's experiences.
What they was taught. See, around here, they got these women shook. These going, oh no, you can't do this. They gonna call the people, and I look them right in their face and says, I don't give a shit. They are not gonna tell me how to raise my kids. And if they knock on my door, they gonna get cussed out. And they have.
You know, if not for social services, in some circumstances, some kids would not have survived certain situations. Mm-hmm. So I understand why that's something in the world, but it just depends.
It's ridiculous now. It's totally ridiculous because they call them for every single thing.
Yeah.
They call them for everything, and I told them next time I said they need to put a red flag in my book if anybody in my file if anybody calls on me again. They need to put a red flag that says you better leave this woman alone, cause she does not back down easy, and I don't at all. Cause I had them come to me like 3 times. I had them come to me like 3 times.
I've had them called on me a couple of times as well.
I slammed the door in their face. To talk about the you mind if I call my supervisor? I don't give a damn what you do. Just don't do it on my porch.
Right. All right. Next question. What do you think about kneeling on rice or grits being a form of discipline?
Torturous, and I'm not kneeling on no rice and no grits. I wish I would get my tail whooped before I do that.
That just seems like torture.
I would never do nothing and have never done nothing like that to my kids.
I haven't experienced that. And I would not make my kids do that either.
No.
But I used to have a best friend that she grew up like that. She used to have to kneel on rice and hold textbooks up. I don't remember if it was on her head or in each hand, but I think that's torturous. That should not be discipline.
No.
I don't know who the hell came up with that.
That was discipline for kids back in the day. And I seen a movie like that where the dad caught the little girl in the woods, and he put grits on the floor, and she had a nail on them grits. And when she got off the grits, her knees was bleeding and everything. There is no way. No. That's child abuse.
Yeah, that's torturous. Bonus question. You ready for the bonus question?
Yes.
All right. As parents, how do you discipline your kids? And what is a form of discipline you experienced as the child that you would not use on your kids? I like our bonus questions.
I do too.
Because we be coming up with some stuff.
Right.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap up today's video. Remember, these are our views and opinions. And if you feel uncomfortable with placing your opinions in the comments, feel free to put it in our Facebook. I will put put it
in our inboxes.
Feel free to inbox us, and I'll put the name to the Facebook in the description. And make sure you follow our Facebook page as well.
And if you give us permission to share it, but not your name, we'll share the story. That would be great. If you don't want to, that's fine too.
Next video is going to be friends and frenemies.
Right.
Friends and frenemies. You ever had a frenemy?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm not sure if I ever had a frenemy.
I don't know.
Well, we just gonna have to wait and see now, ain't we? All right, and until next time, deuces.
Bye bye.